Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island Time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. I'm here with Charlotte Salomon. We're going to be talking about her area where she lives, which is Oak Bay, and we're on the ocean here. It's absolutely gorgeous. We'll show you some pictures. And then we're going to be talking about her area of practice, which is in law. So, Charlotte, how long have you lived in Oak Bay?
I've probably lived in Oak Bay since about 1995, and I chose to live in Oak Bay because I feel that while it's so close to downtown, it really has the best that Victoria has to offer. And you know that because of just this beautiful surroundings we have, being near the water, and the walkability is just amazing.
It also is kind of like its own community. Would you agree?
I think it is. I've had visitors coming here from other parts of Canada, and they're walking on Beach Drive, and they say to me, it's very strange here. Everyone says hello, and everyone says good morning, and if you don't, people look at you funny. So it is unique in that way.
So I've heard that the mayor of Oak Bay actually welcomes you when you move into your new home. Is that true?
Yes, we've had several homes in Oak Bay, and each time we get a knock on the door and the mayor is there, whoever the mayor is at the time. I think we're on our third mayor since we've been living in Oak Bay.
What about things to do with the family in this area?
So when the children were little, there was a lot to do in that. There's a lot of playgrounds. There's a lot of great beaches. Willows Beach is fantastic. It's just around the corner. And last weekend, of course, we had the Oak Bay Tea Party.
What is that exactly?
That is a giant midway that is constructed right on our beach, and it's amazing how quickly they take it up and then take it down, and the kids love it. There's tons of rides, there's an area of play, there's an area for games, and of course tons of food and a stage where there's performances. There's
also the parade, right?
Yes, the Oak Bay Tea Party Parade runs in the morning, 10 a.m. on the Saturday of the Oak Bay Tea Party, and everyone gets involved, and the children love it because they get candy thrown at them.
And I think there actually is a tea party on Oak Bay Avenue.
Yes, there is, and I think there also are interesting things like bathtub races and everything else you can only find here.
I do find we have a variety of ages of people who live here. So obviously with the tea party, we're catering to a younger crowd. There's also schools in the area.
There are lots of schools in the area. Right now we can hear the children playing at the Glen Lyon Norfolk School just down the corner. And the other school where our children went is a St. Michael's University School, and that is just in South Oak Bay, which would be pretty much a short 4 to 5 minute drive from here.
Right. And then there's also public schools. So there's French immersion in Willows, as well as Vic High, I guess, and Oak Bay High.
Oak Bay High is a brand new school now. They just finished the construction of it, and it looks amazing. There's a lot of community events there, including a community theater. We also have recreational facilities very close by. We have tennis courts all over the place. We have Oak Bay Rec has the Henderson and also the Oak Bay location right near Oak Bay High. So there are lots of places to work out, but most of all, we enjoy the outside here. We enjoy the trails. They're just amazing. Even walking on the beach, and there's also trails from the beach out west that you can walk, and it just takes you to a great meander, and then it also takes you up to the university. There are trails there that you can go through and explore as well.
Yeah, and I think some of them are dog friendly up there too.
Yes, there is a dog running park actually just off Cedar Hill Cross Road in Oak Bay, and we see a lot of our friends take their dogs there.
So one of the things I think maybe people should be aware of is if they're visiting Victoria, they can come along Dallas Road, which turns into Beach Drive. What do you think about that drive?
I think that drive is amazing. It's just so beautiful and magnificent to watch the ocean and the mountains, and going through the Victoria Golf Course is a treat too. That's one thing we really like about living here, is that we are close to the Victoria Golf Course. We're members there. We're also close to the Oak Bay Marina. We go there quite a bit. There's a beautiful facility there and some lovely seals for the kids to watch. And also near Estevan Village and several things in between.
Yeah, so you can drive right along the coastline. You'll see all of the U.S. mountains that surround us, the Cascades and Olympic Mountain Range. And then what about the kite surfing too?
Yes, there's lots of kite surfers out on Willows Beach, and then full view of Mount Baker, which is another beautiful mountain. We also see Mount Rainier, and on a clear day you could see it, not today because it's foggy. But yeah, it's just an amazing array of nature that's around us. And the wildlife too is amazing here. We get hummingbirds. There's herons all the time. Right now I think we're looking at about 20 geese outside as the tide is out, and other different type of bird species, and the eagles are just majestic. They all seem to live around here, and they stare at my indoor cats quite a bit.
Actually, apparently there was an eagle's nest found, and they found cat collars, about 15 cat collars. So yeah, it's a good idea to be aware. Something to think about if you're moving out here with your pets. So what about in terms of places to eat? Because I love some of the restaurants in Estevan Village, which is really close by.
Yes, Estevan Village has some amazing restaurants for brunch. What I really like, though, is Vis-a-Vis on Oak Bay Avenue is fabulous if you can get in. It's just the atmosphere is there, even just to sit by the bar and get wine by the glass or by the ounce. It's a great restaurant. The other ones that are great around here are several sushi places. And, of course, for sushi, the Oak Bay Marina is amazing as well. And as I mentioned, we go to the golf course quite a bit. And the Oak Bay Beach Hotel also has some really good places to eat in there. So there is no shortage. We don't have to leave Oak Bay at all if we wanted to go out. And being where we live, everything is in walking distance. So you don't really need a car.
Right. Yeah, that's what you're talking about with the walkability. So let's talk about the older population. So this is very popular with the retirement community as well.
Yes, there are some buildings here in Oak Bay that are 55 plus, so my kids joke with my husband that the clock is ticking and it's almost time to put him in there. So, yes, we do have quite a few retirees. There are a lot of condos on Beach Drive that are full of retirees and people who just want to enjoy the lovely area. And the one thing that makes it perfect for retirees here is just the safety of it. We're a community. You know your neighbors here, and you can walk anywhere in Oak Bay. You're totally safe. We have a police force of our own that is very bored, which is a good thing. And they're always driving around the community, waving at people. So I think it's a fabulous place to retire.
You also have your own firefighting community.
Yes, we do. We have the Oak Bay Fire Hall, which is the original fire hall for several decades, actually. So it's very close by. And in the hospital, the Royal Jubilee Hospital is also very close. So it is convenient if needed.
Right, which specializes, I think, in cancer. Is that right?
Yes, the cancer center is right there.
And heart.
Yes, it does. But the pediatrics is not necessarily that hospital. It's the one that's further north.
Right, the VGH one. So what about, you live in a fabulous location here. You're on the water, and I'm seeing a view of the Oak Bay Marina. What about sailing in this community?
Oh, the sailing community is really great, especially when the winds pick up. We can see it. Most of the sailing that we see is a little off to the distance. We are pretty sheltered in our bay over here. And the boats that we're looking at the Oak Bay Marina are parked and they don't really go too far. They're anchored right now, all of these boats, of course. And for sailing, it's more off Willows Beach. It's more to the east of us. We are directly south facing. And as I said, we don't see too much of the sailboats.
Yeah, so one of the benefits of living in this bay, Oak Bay, is the fact that you are quite sheltered. So you find it gets windy out further?
It does get windy in some areas, especially around the Victoria Golf Course. For us here, we are sheltered. So we have paddle boards, kayaks, etc. We have a whole room of them. And we can go out basically anytime all year round and be quite sheltered here.
Do you find that there's, in Oak Bay, there's a lot of pride of ownership in the housing?
I think that a house here, no matter how small, you can see the pride in how they keep up their garden. It's just amazing. And just, houses are well taken care of here. People really do care about, how their community looks. And I think that's important. There's also some rules in different areas of Oak Bay. Of course, the uplands have their own bylaws as to how long your grass can be. But living where we are in about mid-Oak Bay, everyone still keeps everything tidy just for pride of ownership.
So do you find that people grow up in Oak Bay tend to want to stay here?
Yes, my husband was born in Oak Bay, grew up in Oak Bay, and we moved to Saanich for about 4 years, and he started to twitch, so we had to move back to Oak Bay. So he is back in Oak Bay, but he can tell all these great stories. I think he's been in every single house in Oak Bay through his, 50 years, and he's also cycled through every alley in Oak Bay on his little BMX bike when he was young. So great history, and I'm happy to have my kids grow up here too.
So one thing that's unique about Oak Bay compared to other municipalities is they definitely do not allow suites.
No, they do not. And that's good because of the parking situation. Our street specifically is very small. It's a cul-de-sac, so I don't know how anyone would be able to fit more cars on it. And there's a lot of areas where you cannot park. I mean, they do have to increase density at some point, and we know about that. But I don't know if allowing suites is the way to go. I think it's safe to say that the municipality knows that there are some secondary suites in Oak Bay, but they aren't specifically zoned as having secondary suites. In our house here, we obviously don't have one, but in the houses we've had room for a nanny suite, and we've never had a problem with that.
Right. It's more the kitchen, really, that's the issue.
Right. So it's just about what voltage can you have in the downstairs kitchen. You're not allowed to have the same voltage as you would have upstairs for a full stove. I think that's the main difference.
Yeah, it's for fire protection, and also the parking issue, I think, is a big one. I mean, I've showed houses around the Linkleus area, and there's no parking. So I can totally see that would be the issue.
Yes, of course. And also, we want to have families living in Oak Bay. So that's probably another reason why people in Oak Bay have not been wanting to have any legislation allowing secondary suites.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about, just we're coming near to the end, is the Oak Bay Beach Hotel. So what's the history behind that?
That was an amazing grand hotel in its day. And I remember even walking through it before it got rebuilt. And since it's been rebuilt, it is just amazing. We have friends and family that come and stay at that hotel all the time, and they love it. It's got a great restaurant, as I've mentioned, a spa, which is amazing, and then mineral pools. The only thing to heed, though, is that they've now changed their rules, and no one under 16 is allowed in their pool area or any of their mineral pools. So if you are staying with children, beware, they won't be allowed outside.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So is that because of disturbing the peace or something?
I think it is. I think it's because they want to keep their pools as mineral pools as opposed to swimming pools for playing in.
Yeah, so it's right, those pools are right on the water. They have a fabulous glassed-in area, so you're not affected by the wind. What about the Snug?
The Snug is an amazing bar. It's great for Friday night. The old Snug was good too, but I think the food is better now.
And I think they also attract kind of an international clientele there.
You can tell at the hotel. If you are at the pool area in the hotel, you hear a lot of languages.
Yeah. So, and do you find in general that Greater Victoria is becoming more multicultural?
I think it is. I think that we are attracting more multicultural tourists and international tourists, and then they come here and say, gee, this may be a great place to live. Let's consider that.
I think social media has a lot to do with that as well.
I think so too. And there are a lot of people who post pictures about Oak Bay. The hashtag Oak Bay comes out a lot in my feed.
Okay, so if you want more information about the Oak Bay area, you can contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at RE/MAX Camosun. But stay tuned because we're going to be back with Charlotte. We're going to be talking about her area of expertise, which is the law. Take care. See you soon.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at RE/MAX Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, everybody. everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at RE/MAX Camosun, and I'm back with Charlotte Salomon of
McConnon, Beyond O'Connor, and Peterson Law Corporation.
So, first of all, how long have you been practicing law?
I've been practicing law for about, close to 25 years.
And where did you do your law degree?
I did my law degree at the University of Victoria. I had come out from Toronto at the ripe old age of 19 and was happy to go to that amazing law school.
And so what attracted you to come to Victoria?
It was the school itself. It was a very small school with small classes, and it had an excellent reputation being one of the top schools in Canada.
And what kind of area of law do you study?
So my area of law that I practice in now is a combination of wills, estates, estate planning, probate, and also I do quite a bit of real estate, being real estate conveyancing.
So what do you find are typical questions people come to you with?
Well, with respect to wills and estates planning, the typical question is what to do with the money that they have. And quite often, my clients, it's interesting, people come to Victoria to live. A lot of my clients are either single or they've never had children. So then it comes that, well, we are going to die one day. We'll have more money than we need. What do we do with it? So a very interesting conversation. I think that is unique to Victoria. And the answer usually is, well, let's look at some charities. Let's look at some foundations. Let's bring in some people who run foundations and see if any of them are suitable and you want to create a fund and leave a legacy.
Oh, that's a great idea. Or maybe pick an institution to give to as well.
Exactly. And also the tax benefits for your estate for leaving money to a charity or a foundation are huge.
Oh, okay. And so how do they go about doing that?
Well, what would usually happen is that I would bring in, for example, the Victoria Foundation to speak to the client, and they would get an idea of what the interest of the client is. Let's say the client wants to help youth who are on the street trying to get into the workforce. There are specific organizations that vary from year to year that help people like this, and the Victoria Foundation would get the applications from those types of groups and then be able to give out money from, let's say, the John Smith Fund or the Jane Smith Fund to the groups and not using up the capital, so allow the gift to be shared in perpetuity.
Okay. And do you find what affects people's values when they're looking at giving? Like what are primary concerns?
What I see is that people are concerned with being philanthropic and altruistic. It's very good to see people saying, okay, how can I fix society? What do I see is wrong in society? And living in Victoria, we do have an issue with homelessness. We do have an issue with youth that are living on the street because we are a warm climate in Canada and we attract people. Also, mental health is another issue. So people live in Victoria and they see that around them. They think, okay, maybe I can help. Maybe I can give to an organization to help. And also, they're looking for an organization often that is not one of the major charities. People are concerned about how much money they're actually giving that goes to the charity itself as opposed to the overhead. And they also want to keep the money in Victoria. That's really important. They are looking for a charity that isn't a national charity. They want the money to stay here.
So the Victoria Foundation would be able to help them choose to direct their money.
That's right. So when someone is creating a fund with the Victoria Foundation, they could either specify, I want it to go to these certain charities, or they can specify the purpose. And then it would be up to the Victoria Foundation to find different groups that would be able to accept that money for the purpose for which the fund was created.
Okay, so since obviously I'm in real estate, let's talk about real estate. Who do you find is buying real estate in Victoria from your perspective?
Well, the buyers that we see are local. We see a lot of local people buying now. It's because of the legislation that has come out, the foreign buyers tax, the speculation tax, that is still keeping some people away, mostly people from outside BC. And also there's quite a few sales that we're seeing. Some international clients have been selling in Victoria because of the different government regulations. So we've been seeing that as well. But the market has definitely been picking up.
I find right now where the new legislation has affected buyers is people who are moving to Victoria who've been offered a job. And all of a sudden, the price of a house, because they're not a permanent resident yet, goes, for example, in one case, $700,000. Because of the 20% tax, he had to pay $840,000.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. We see a lot of people moving to Victoria through D&D. We handle a lot of those moves, and we are specifically authorized to do that by Brookfield. So we see people coming here, and those people are not subject to the foreign buyer tax, obviously, because they're coming from other parts of Canada and being transferred here. But no, we haven't had many people that are coming that have to pay the speculation tax, just because I think they're less likely to buy here.
Right. Well, but Babcock, I know, is bringing in engineers, and often they're British. So that's where that's from. But you do actually have the option, if you get your permanent residency within the year, which is a federal program, you can be reimbursed that 20%.
Oh, that would be great. But it's really important when someone comes and uses me to purchase a house, I then say to them, so do you have a will? Mm-hmm. Because a house is a big asset. And now, they have something that what happens when they go? Who are they going to leave it to? What's going to happen? Do they want to make sure that there is going to be room for their aging parents to stay in the in-law suite after they pass away? These types of considerations do come up with houses. And also what we're seeing is young people buying houses and needing their parents to guarantee the mortgage. That happens more and more often now, given the mortgage requirements.
Right. And so do they have some sort of side agreement in addition to the purchase?
Often they do, but usually it's the mortgage company that requires the parent to even come on title. Right. So we do have all of them in our office, and we see where the money is coming from, and the down payment often comes from the parent as well.
Right, in the form of a gift letter.
Yes.
Right, and so they can be on title like 1%.
Right, they'd be entitled 1%. I mean, there are difficulties with that because, of course, they can't be owning in joint tenancy if there's 1%. They have to be tenants in common. So if something happens to that parent, their 1% has to be probated.
Oh my gosh, I never thought about that.
That's a problem. And then there's the issue of someone coming on for a percentage of title, and then they lose their first-time home buyer's credit because they've already bought something. Even if it's just a 5% ownership, they now have owned something, and they've lost their chance to claim it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I've seen that happen. Okay, I have one more question about that. So I know people think about the will, but what they don't think about is power of attorney.
Yes, power of attorney is important because without one, then we are forced to make a court application for comiteeship. That gets very expensive and time-consuming because we need to find 2 doctors that are willing to give us an affidavit to say that someone is incompetent to manage their own affairs, and a committee needs to be appointed. The other problem with that is that the person who is incapacitated needs to be served formally with all the documents, and that can be quite upsetting to them. So if we have a power of attorney in place, then all of that is dealt with very easily and very efficiently and inexpensively. Usually at the time someone does their will, they should do a power of attorney, naming someone as their attorney. And again, the problem with some people in Victoria is they come here with no family and they've just moved here, so they have no friends. So quite often a professional has to come in as their power of attorney and executor of the will.
I recently sold a property like that, and it is unfortunate. I think it's very lonely, too.
It can be, but then we've got some great clubs in Victoria, like the Union Club, for example. So I tell my clients to come check it out. I run a business women's group there on the last Friday of the month, and I bring my clients to it, and then they get to meet some people. So there's lots of clubs like that, and golf clubs, etc., churches. It's a pretty vibrant community. When someone's moving into a condo, they also get the benefit of their condo community.
Right. And I also tell them there's a newcomers club, which is really handy. And often you meet people of the same age who are moving to Victoria and they have the same interests. And it's been really interesting to see people transition. If you're just a little bit outgoing, the transition's so much better.
Oh, yes, for sure. And also, if you can go to more events and be active. I think if someone is having to stay at home more due to their physical health, that would be a bit of a problem to find a good group. But if you can go out and socialize, there's so many opportunities for that here. Even going to the grocery stores or a walk in the park, people are friendly here. They're welcoming.
I find that too. I also find, so I'm involved in two groups. One is the speed skating group where I coach little kids, and the other is the rowing club and what's the Gorge Narrows Rowing Club. Both of those have allowed me to sort of become entwined in people's lives in ways I didn't expect.
Yes, of course. And I have children in school. So before we started this, we were looking at my daughter's basketball schedule and trying to figure out just how many games she has on a certain day. And then you put in the soccer schedule on top of that, the powerlifting schedule, and I think, oh yes, track. She's done track now. So there's so many outdoor activities here, and they go all year because of our wonderful weather.
Right. So I find, actually, I'm from Ontario as well. So when I moved here, I found that the whole schedule is slightly different. So for instance, you can row all year, but you can also play soccer all year here too.
Yes, you can play soccer all year and play golf all year.
Right. And are you an avid golfer?
I am not. I don't have time. One day I would love to take it up.
Well, I just recently went to an event, and the good thing about golf here is people are pretty willing to play best ball, so even if you don't hit the ball well, it doesn't matter.
That's right. And then again, a good golf club, there are ones that are public here, but also the private clubs are not that expensive compared to other parts in Canada. We have some amazing quality golf courses, especially the Victoria Golf Course.
Yeah, and the Uplands Golf Course as well. I've been to international tournaments there.
Yes, and they do a lot of charity tournaments there as well. You'll find a lot of professionals, doctors, etc., have joined Uplands, where another segment of Oak Bay and Victoria Society have joined Victoria Golf Club. So it's really interesting to see where people land.
Is it self-selecting?
It is, and the Uplands Golf Club is also associated with the Victoria Golf Club. So there is a connection there. So you find more people, sailors, for example, are members of the Uplands Golf Club than the Victoria Golf Club.
Let's just go back a bit to the Union Club. So tell me some unique features about the Union Club. They have membership locally, but you can visit internationally.
Yes, the Union Club has two types of memberships: resident and non-resident members. Either or, you get entitled to stay at reciprocal clubs all over the world, and especially if you're going to Europe. These are great clubs to stay in. Usually they offer lodging at a great rate, and you get the camaraderie of a private club, which is amazing if you're going to a foreign area.
I've stayed at the Washington Athletic Club in Seattle, which is right downtown, so it's really handy. Our club, the Union Club, is right beside the Empress Hotel.
Yes, and we get some association with the Empress too. So we have a discount on the spa services at the Empress and a discount on using the pool at the Empress.
Right, and there's also a workout facility there, and they have newcomers events, as well as they have the women's business lunch, and then there are also special events during holidays and stuff like that.
Yes, there are events all through the year, chocolate tasting, martini tasting. They have a wine club, which is new, and the workout facilities are great at the Union Club because, let's face it, they're busy in January, February, but then it all drops off.
And they have the little business center, which is nice.
Yes, of course. And there's a lot of people that do work out of there instead of having an office or working in their home office.
I do notice that there's a large group of people who are consistent in their attendance.
Yes, there's a very good chef at the Union Club, Chef Nicholas, and he has recently won a chef competition that we had for the Our Place Society. So he beat out 8 other chefs. The food is amazing, so I will go there for lunch most of the time, but there's a lot of people who go for the suppers, especially when they have their themed evenings. And they have members night twice a week where they have a buffet. So it's all around. It's a very fun club, very social.
Yeah, it's a great way to introduce yourself to people in the area. Okay, so if people are interested in the types of law, so we're talking, you want to just summarize again?
Yes, so I'm interested in meeting people who would like to talk about their estate plan. And we can talk about their wills, we can talk about powers of attorney, and also representation agreements, which are healthcare decisions that have to be made, and appointing someone to make those decisions for you. And when I speak to a client, I like to find out their background. I like to find out what their needs are with respect to who they want to receive benefits when they pass away, and also speaking to them to make sure that they have a plan in place so they have enough money to last them, because people are living longer now.
Right. And so how do they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me through our website, which is www.mcbop.com, or call me, Charlotte Salomon, at 250-385-1383.
Okay, and if you want more information about the Oak Bay area, you can be in touch with me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at RE/MAX Camosun and host of Vancouver Time. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.